"You think this is funny," the billionaire said, smiling as the room laughed. But when the poor cleaner stepped inside moments later, the smiles froze, the air went heavy, and every powerful person there realized they had just mocked the one person who could break them without saying a word. They were already laughing when it happened. The billionaire stood near the center of the grand hall, glass raised, eyes sharp with pride, his voice calm but cutting as he looked toward the door. He had invited her as a joke, a cleaner, a woman he barely noticed, except when she pushed her cart past his office at dawn. The invitation was meant to mock her, to remind everyone who belonged and who did not. But as the door slowly opened, the laughter died mid-breath. And something unseen but heavy settled over the room. No one spoke. Not because they were told to be quiet, because instinct demanded it. She stood there in a simple blue dress, hands folded, posture straight, eyes steady. Her shoes were worn but clean. Her hair was pulled back with care. She did not look around in fear or awe. She looked forward as if she had walked into far greater rooms before. The silence stretched, thick and uncomfortable, and the billionaire felt it press against his chest for the first time that night. Her name was Elena Morrow, though very few people here knew it. To them, she was just the cleaner, the woman who arrived before sunrise and left after sunset, the one who scrubbed marble floors and polished glass walls while powerful voices echoed above her head. They never asked where she came from. They never asked what she carried inside. Elena had learned long ago that silence could be stronger than noise. That dignity did not need applause. She walked forward slowly, each step measured, as if the floor itself deserved respect. People watched her now, unsure why their hearts were beating faster. A few felt a strange pull of shame they could not explain. Years earlier, Elena had stood on a very different kind of ground. Back then, the air smelled of dust and heat. The ground trembled under distant movement. She wore a uniform that carried weight, not just in fabric but in meaning. She had served where fear was constant and trust was rare. She had carried injured strangers on her back. She had stayed awake for nights so others could sleep. She had learned to listen for danger in silence. She remembered the day everything changed. The sharp brightness of the sky, the sudden force that knocked the breath from her body, the sound that followed her long after it was gone. She remembered waking up with pain and the knowledge that her life had split into a before and an after. Friends did not all make it back. Some names lived only in her memory now. When she returned home, the world had moved on. There were no parades waiting for her. No speeches. Just forms, long lines, and closed doors. Jobs came and went. Some people saw her limp and turned away. Others heard her quiet voice and mistook it for weakness. Cleaning work was what remained. Honest work. Invisible work. Every morning, Elena arrived early. The building smelled of polish and cold stone. She cleaned offices where deals were made that changed lives she would never meet. She wiped fingerprints from glass walls where people argued about numbers larger than she could imagine. She listened without listening. She observed without being seen. The billionaire, Marcus Hale, noticed her only when he wanted to make a point. He was known for his sharp humor, his public confidence, his belief that success meant superiority. To him, inviting Elena to this elite gathering was clever. A harmless joke. A reminder of power. He did not know her story. He did not ask. As Elena walked further into the room, whispers stirred, but never fully formed. Faces shifted. Some guests felt exposed, as if she could see through their expensive suits and perfect smiles. She stopped a few steps from Marcus and met his eyes without challenge, without fear. Marcus cleared his throat, forcing a smile. He gestured vaguely, as if expecting laughter to return. It did not. Something about her calm unsettled him. She looked at him the way one looks at weather. Acknowledging its presence without surrender, the tension grew as small humiliations followed. Someone offered her a seat near the back. Someone else spoke louder, as if to drown her out. Marcus made a comment about generosity, about lifting others for fun. Elena listened. She did not react. Her silence was not submission. It was restraint. A few bystanders noticed details others missed. The way she stood evenly despite her limp, the faint marks on her hands, not from cleaning alone. The way she scanned exits without turning her head. One older man near the edge of the room felt a chill of recognition. He had seen that posture before, in places no one here spoke about. Minutes passed. The jokes stretched too long. The laughter never came back. Instead, discomfort spread like slow-moving fog. Marcus felt it now. He felt watched, not by eyes, but by something deeper. He tried to regain control, raising his voice slightly, preparing another remark. That was when the door opened again. This time, the room truly stopped breathing. Uniformed figures entered quietly, not rushed, not aggressive. Calm, precise, respectful. Their presence alone shifted the air. Conversations collapsed into silence. No one needed an explanation, yet everyone felt one coming. They did not look at Marcus. They walked directly toward Alina. The leader stopped a few steps away from her and nodded. A simple gesture, filled with meaning. Alina returned the nod. Just as simple. Just as full. The man spoke her name softly with respect. The sound of it carried across the room like a bell. Alina Moreau. People stared. The billionaire's smile faded completely. The man continued explaining why they were there. He spoke of service. Of courage shown when no one was watching. Of a life lived in quiet sacrifice. He spoke of a ceremony delayed too long. Of honor that did not expire with time. Alina listened, eyes steady. Her heart beat slower now. She had not come for recognition. She had come because she was invited. Even as a joke, the leader stepped aside. Another figure approached, holding a small case. When it opened, light caught metal shaped by meaning. The room understood then. This was no prop, no performance. Alina accepted it with both hands. Her fingers trembled just slightly, not from fear, but from memory. Faces flashed in her mind, names, voices, promises made under open skies. She closed her eyes for one breath, then opened them again. The silence was complete. Marcus felt something break inside him. Not loudly, quietly. The kind of break that cannot be repaired with money or words. He looked at Alina and finally saw her. Not as a cleaner, not as a joke. As a mirror reflecting everything he had mistaken for strength. No one clapped at first. They stood, one by one. Chairs scraped softly as people rose without being asked. The sound spread until the entire room stood in silent respect. Some bowed their heads. Others placed hands over their hearts without knowing why. Alina remained still. She did not smile. She did not cry. Her strength was not in display. It was in presence. The leader spoke again, sharing words that would linger long after the night ended. He said that true honor does not announce itself. It shows up early, does the work, and leaves without applause. He said that some heroes wear uniforms, and others wear silence. One line settled into the room like truth finally spoken. Respect is not about who is seen. It is about who stands when it matters. Marcus tried to speak. His voice failed him. He lowered his head instead. The joke was gone. The power he thought he held had dissolved without resistance. Alina turned to leave. The uniformed figures stepped aside for her. The crowd parted instinctively. As she walked toward the door, people watched with something new in their eyes. Gratitude. Shame. Awe at the door. She paused. Not for applause. For herself. She took one last breath of the room that had tried to make her small. Then she stepped out, carrying her dignity with her. Untouched, the door closed gently behind her. No one spoke for a long time. That night, many people went home, changed in ways they could not explain. Some slept poorly. Some stared at their ceilings. Some resolved to see the unseen. And somewhere in the quiet of her small home, Alina placed the case on a simple table. She did not hang it on the wall. She sat instead, hands wrapped around a warm cup, feeling the weight lift just a little. Because the strongest people are not always the loudest, and the deepest power often lives in silence. If this story moved you, share where you were watching from and what moment stayed with you the most. Subscribe for more stories that honor quiet strength and the heroes we almost miss.